Hello everybody, CW here. I want to talk really quick about something that doesn't get talked about enough in shotgun circles, and it came to mind in a recent video I did talking about all these 20 gauge hulls that I got. There's a 3-inch hull and there's a 2 3/4 inch hull, and that some of them were red, and some of the guys commented they never saw a red 20 gauge hull. Well, there it is. Let me see if I can easily show this to you with my hands being full here. And I got this gun out for a reason. And what I want to show you is Remington UMC. This is an old Sure Shot shell. Now, something else is old shotgun shells used to use different size primers than we use today with a 209 primer. So there is a new Winchester hull, newer. That's probably still a 70s hull, but newer than this red one. And I don't know that you can really see it, and I can't see it because I'm getting 100 texts on my phone. Hello, Walter. You're gonna laugh about that. The one on the red hull takes a number 57, and the one in the yellow hull takes a number 209. The 57s were just a little bit smaller, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I'm here to talk about is the dangers of a 12-20 burst, and it's the reason. There's another one from Walter saying good morning. Is the reason for them changing colors and becoming standardized as a 16 gauge in purple, a 20 gauge in yellow, and a 12 gauge in red. And that is because of the 12-20 burst. If you haven't heard of it, I'm not going to demonstrate it, but I'm going to show how it can happen. What we got here is one of my favorite 12 gauge side-by-sides. And this is a 20 gauge hull. This is one of those red 20 gauge hulls. Now, let me do it with a yellow hull, just so there's no mistaking of what I'm doing. So I got a 20 gauge hull. This is a 12 gauge gun. So here's a 12 gauge shell. You know, these are all empties. 12 gauge shell goes in the gun, comes out of the gun, no problem. Okay. So we were just out hunting with our 20 gauge. And I don't know, we missed too many times, so we came back and got the 12 gauge, and we're going back out. But we didn't get all the 20 gauge shells out of our pocket, but we got our 12 gauge gun. We're out in the field, we're not paying attention. We're walking along just like this with our gun open, yada, 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 talking to our buddy, watching the dogs work. And all of a sudden, there's some birds. Okay, the dog's on point. You reach in your pocket real quick, and you grab one of these, and you dump it right in the chamber. And you grab another one, and you dump it in the chamber. And you say, oh, didn't I put one in there? Darn it, I didn't put one in there. Let me put one in there. Let me get one on the other side and we'll get ready here. All right, guess what? That 20 gauge slid right down inside the chamber and allowed you to chamber a 12 gauge shell. Now what I did here for these dummies is I chopped them off. And I did it so I don't have to put live shells in my gun here because we're in the house. But I want to show you that there's no funny business. Here is a loaded 12 gauge shell, and all I did was cut it to length. Okay, so it's a regular length of a unfired 12 gauge shell. Let's get that one out of the way, put it way over here so we're not going to have anything to do with that. Here's our dummy, nothing in it. Down inside there, let me get a light. I want you to see that it's down inside there. See it down in there? There's a 20 gauge shell down in there. Here goes a 12 gauge right on top. And there's Walks saying hello in the middle of my video. You guys can't see it, but I'm seeing it. There we go. You know what's going to happen when you pull that trigger? Yeah, a lot of bad. A lot of bad. Your gun is probably gone. Good chance you're going to lose part of your hand, or you're going to get hurt, or the guy beside you going to get hurt. It's really dangerous. This is the reason that manufacturers got rid of these red 20 gauge hulls to help immediately identify that you've got different gauge shells in your pocket than the gauge gun you may have in your hands. So be real careful, guys. If you've got both of these guns, both of these gauges, be really careful to completely empty your pockets. And they don't come right out. You got to use a rod to get them out. Be real careful, be real conscious. Think about what you're doing, think about what's going on, and remove all these other shells, all these other gauges. Make sure you've got just what you want to have so you don't make a mistake putting a 20 gauge shell in a 12 gauge gun. That's it, guys. That's what I want to talk to you about. I really want to put that in your heads. I really want you to remember. Just be thinking all the time. Guns are great, you know, but they're a tool, and they can be really dangerous if you're not careful. You're not thinking about what you're doing. God bless everybody. CW out.